Ever wonder why some Chevy trucks from 2010 are still running strong while others with half the miles are already in the junkyard? I'm talking about those Silverados with 280,000 miles that still tow like they're brand new, or those Equinoxes that refuse to quit despite years of hard driving. It's not luck, and it's not because someone got a magical truck off the assembly line. The difference is maintenance. But here's the truth nobody tells you. Even the best Chevy won't survive past 150,000 miles without proper care. I've been wrenching on Chevys for over 18 years. And I've seen pristine-looking trucks with blown engines at 120,000 miles. Why? Because the owner skipped one critical maintenance step. In this video, I'm sharing 5 essential strategies that separate the Chevys that hit 300,000 miles from the ones that die early. You don't need expensive tools or a degree in automotive engineering. Just the right maintenance at the right time. Stick around because these expert tips will save you thousands in engine and transmission repairs. Let's dive in. Point 1. Change your oil every 5,000 miles. Alright, here's where I lose some of you, but I don't care because it's the truth. GM's oil life monitoring system tells you that you can go 7,500 or even 10,000 miles between oil changes. I'm telling you right now, that's pushing your luck. Especially if you've got a 5.3-liter V8 or the turbocharged 2.7-liter 4-cylinder. I've torn down too many Chevy engines with sludge buildup at 90,000 miles. You know what they all had in common? Owners who religiously follow that 7,500-mile interval, trusting the oil life monitor without question. Modern Chevy engines, especially the Ecotec 3 and turbo engines, run hotter and work harder than older designs. They've got variable valve timing, direct injection, and cylinder deactivation systems that put extra stress on your oil. That oil breaks down faster than you think, especially if you're doing a lot of short trips where the engine never fully warms up, or if you're towing, which is what most of us buy Chevys for in the first place. Here's my rule. Change your oil every 5,000 miles for turbocharged engines, every 5,000 to 6,000 miles for V8s and V6s. Always use full synthetic for most modern Chevy engines. That means 0W20 or 5W30, depending on your specific model. Check your owner's manual, but don't cheap out with conventional oil thinking you'll save money. And yes, always change the oil filter too. I've seen people try to reuse filters to save $10. That dirty filter sends contaminated oil right back through your engine, completely defeating the purpose of fresh oil. A DIY oil change costs about $50 with quality synthetic oil. Compare that to a short block replacement that costs $6,500 when sludge destroys your bearings. Trust me on this. Your Chevy engine needs clean oil more than it needs anything else. The oil life monitor is a computer algorithm. It doesn't know if you're doing stop-and-go city driving or towing a camper up a mountain pass stick to 5,000 miles. And your engine will thank you with another 200,000 miles of service. Point 2. Address carbon buildup in direct injection engines. Let's talk about the elephant in the room with modern Chevy engines. Carbon buildup. If you own a 2014 or newer Chevy with direct injection, and that's most of you watching this, you need to understand this issue because ignoring it will cost you thousands. Direct injection engines spray fuel directly into the combustion chamber. That's great for power and fuel economy, but it creates a major problem. There's no fuel flowing over your intake valves, like in traditional port injection engines. Without that fuel washing over the valves, carbon deposits build up from oil vapor and exhaust gases that get recirculated through your engine. I've seen intake valves on Silverados with 75,000 miles that looked like they were coated in tar. Those engines were misfiring, had rough idle, losing power, and getting 4 miles per gallon less than they should. The walnut shell blasting to remove that carbon cost the owner $750. Here's how to prevent it. First, use only top-tier gasoline. Brands like Shell, Chevron, Mobil, and Costco have enhanced detergent packages that significantly reduce carbon buildup. That extra nickel per gallon saves you hundreds in cleaning services down the road. Second, every 5,000 miles, add a bottle of quality fuel system cleaner like Chevron Techron or CRC GDI intake valve cleaner. These cleaners are specifically designed to combat carbon deposits in direct injection engines. Cost per bottle, about $15. Cost of professional carbon cleaning, $600 to $900. And here's a pro tip most people overlook. Once a week, take your Chevy out on the highway and run it hard for 20 minutes. Get those RPMs up above 4,000 for a few seconds. High RPMs generate heat that helps burn off carbon deposits before they harden and become permanent. I know the EPA doesn't love this advice, but it works. If you skip carbon maintenance, you're looking at rough idle misfires, reduced fuel economy, and eventually a damaged catalytic converter keep up with it, and your direct injection engine will run smooth past 300,000 miles. Point 3. Service your transmission at 60,000 miles. Your Chevy transmission operates quietly in the background until something goes wrong. By the time you notice slipping, hesitation, or harsh shifts, you're not preventing damage anymore. You're paying for replacement. Chevy uses several transmission types depending on your model. The 8-speed automatic in newer trucks, the 6-speed in older models, and the 9-speed in crossovers like the Traverse. All of them need fluid maintenance, and the intervals are more critical than GM wants you to believe. For automatic transmissions in Silverados, Colorados, Equinoxes, and Traverses, change the fluid every 60,000 miles maximum. GM might say the fluid is lifetime, but I've seen transmissions fail at 100,000 miles because owners believe that marketing transmission fluid serves multiple purposes. It dissipates heat, lubricates internal components, and carries away microscopic metal particles from gears and clutch packs. Fresh fluid keeps those particles safely suspended. Old fluid becomes saturated with metal debris that acts like grinding compound, wearing down every component it touches. Always use genuine GM Dexron ISIX transmission fluid or an equivalent that meets GM specifications. Generic transmission fluid might save you $30, but it doesn't match GM's friction characteristics and can cause premature failure. Do a simple drain and fill, not a full flush. A flush can dislodge deposits that then clog the valve body. A fluid change replaces about 40% of the total fluid, which is enough to refresh the system without causing problems. For manual transmissions in Colorados or Camaros, change the fluid every 30,000 miles using GL4 rated gear oil. Manual transmissions work harder in stop-and-go traffic, and fresh fluid protects the synchronizers from wear transmission service costs around $175 at a shop, maybe $80 if you DIY it. A replacement transmission runs $4,000 to $6,500. I know which one I'd choose. The key here is consistency. Mark it in your calendar, set a reminder on your phone, do whatever it takes to hit that 60,000-mile service. Your transmission will last the life of your truck if you keep fresh fluid in it. Point 4. Replace spark plugs at the right interval. GM might tell you that spark plugs last 100,000 miles on some models. I'm telling you that's optimistic, especially for V8 trucks and turbocharged engines. Real-world driving conditions eat spark plugs faster than laboratory test conditions. Here's why this matters more for Chevys than you might think. Modern Chevy engines run lean air-fuel mixtures and higher compression ratios for better fuel economy. That combination creates more heat at the spark plug tip than older engines generated. More heat means faster electrode wear. Even with premium iridium plugs, I've pulled spark plugs from Silverado 5.3-liter engines at 80,000 miles that looked like they'd been through a blast furnace. Those engines were misfiring, idling rough, and getting 3 miles per gallon less than they should have. New plugs fixed everything instantly. Replace your spark plugs every 60,000 miles for V8 engines, every 70,000 miles for V6s and turbocharged 4-cylinders. Use AC Delco iridium plugs that meet your engine specifications. For most Chevy V8s, that's AC Delco 41162. Don't cheap out and use copper plugs that need replacement every 30,000 miles. The extra $40 for iridium plugs buys you double the service life and better performance. When you replace spark plugs, inspect the ignition coils at the same time. GM coil packs can fail around 100,000 miles. Look for cracks, carbon tracking, or oil contamination. If the coils show any damage, replace them along with the plugs to avoid problems later. And here's a critical tip for Chevy owners. Use anti-seize compound on the spark plug threads. Chevy's aluminum cylinder heads can seize plugs in place, making removal almost impossible after 70,000 miles. A thin coating of anti-seize prevents that nightmare. Fresh spark plugs maintain your Chevy's efficiency and performance. Neglected spark plugs reduce fuel economy today and cause expensive catalytic converter damage tomorrow. The misfires from worn plugs send unburned fuel into the exhaust system, where it overheats and destroys the catalytic converter. A $200 spark plug service now prevents a $1,800 catalytic converter replacement later. Point 5. Prevent common Chevy engine issues before they start. Every vehicle has its weak points, and Chevys are no exception. But here's the good news. The most common Chevy engine problems are preventable with simple maintenance that most owners ignore. Let me walk you through the big ones and how to stop them before they cost you thousands. First up, the active fuel management system, also called cylinder deactivation. GM's V8 engines from 2007 onward shut down 4 cylinders under light load to save fuel. Great in theory, but it causes lifter failure in the real world. Those lifters can collapse, causing a ticking noise that eventually becomes a full engine failure. The problem hits hardest between 80,000 and 120,000 miles. Prevention is simple. Use quality synthetic oil, change it every 5,000 miles like I told you earlier, and consider adding a can of Liquimoly Ceratec every oil change. That stuff costs $30, but it reduces friction on those AFM lifters and significantly extends their life. Some owners disable AFM entirely with an aftermarket device. That's a personal choice, but maintaining perfect oil quality definitely helps. Second issue. Intake manifold gasket leaks on older Chevy V8 and V6 models from 2005 to 2014 are particularly prone to this. You'll notice coolant smell, overheating, or rough running. The plastic gaskets deteriorate over time, especially if you've been running old. Coolant prevention is maintaining your cooling system, which means flushing your coolant every 60,000 miles or 5 years with Fresh Dex Cool. Never mix coolant types, and never use universal green coolant in a Chevy. It causes chemical reactions that create sludge. If your intake gaskets do start leaking, replace them before they cause overheating damage to the engine. The gasket job costs $600. A warped cylinder head from overheating costs $2,500. Third problem, oil consumption in the 5.3-liter V8, particularly 2010 to 2014 models. Some of these engines burn a quart of oil every 2,000 miles. That's not always fixable, but it is manageable. Check your oil level every 2 fill-ups, make it a habit. If your engine burns more than a quart every 3,000 miles, you've got an issue that needs attention. First, verify its actual consumption and not a leak. Check for oil spots under your truck. Inspect the valve cover gaskets, oil pan gasket, and rear main seal for leaks. Sometimes what looks like consumption is actually a slow leak. If it's real consumption, try switching to a slightly thicker oil. If your manual specifies 5W30, try 5W40. Thicker oil might reduce consumption without hurting engine protection. Replace your PCV valve every 60,000 miles. A clogged PCV valve increases crankcase pressure, forcing oil past the rings and into the combustion chamber. And if your Chevy is still under warranty or you have an extended warranty, document everything. Take pictures of the dipstick showing low oil. Save receipts for the oil you add between changes. GM has replaced engines under warranty for excessive oil consumption, but you need documentation showing the pattern. Fourth issue. Timing chain stretch in the 3.6-liter V6 engine. This engine powers the Traverse, Acadia, Camaro, and others. The timing chains can stretch over time, throwing off valve timing and eventually causing engine damage. You'll hear a rattling noise on cold starts. Don't ignore it. Prevention comes down to oil quality again. Clean oil keeps timing chain tensioners working properly. If you do develop timing chain noise, get it inspected immediately. Replacing the timing chains costs $1,500 to $2,000. Replacing the engine after the chain breaks costs $6,000. Never ignore warning signs on a Chevy engine. That check engine light, that strange noise, that slight loss of power, they're all early warnings. Catching problems early turns a $300 repair into a saved engine. Ignoring them turns a small issue into a catastrophic failure. Conclusion. Reaching 300,000 miles in your Chevy isn't about luck or getting a perfect truck off the assembly line. It's about following these 5 essential maintenance strategies that prevent the failures most owners mistakenly accept as inevitable. These strategies prevent 95% of the major problems that kill Chevys before 200,000 miles. The remaining 5% is random component failures that no amount of maintenance can prevent. But those are rare outliers your Chevy was engineered to last. GM's engineers built every component to reach high mileage with proper care. The question isn't whether your Chevy can make it to 300,000 miles. The question is whether you'll follow the habits that allow it to happen. Start today even if you're already at 100,000 miles. These maintenance habits will add years and hundreds of thousands of miles to your truck's life. If this video just saved you from a $6,000 engine replacement, hit that like button right now and subscribe for more tips that keep your Chevy running forever. Which of these 5 strategies are you going to start with? Drop a comment below and let me know. And check the description for a free downloadable maintenance checklist with exact service intervals for your specific Chevy model. Now get out there and give your truck the care it deserves. I'll see you in the next video.